your life isn't broken. So stop trying to fix it. Like, I promise you will get better results if you start nurturing it instead of trying to fix all the things that you think are wrong with it.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to my show. My name is Tiffany Alexander, and this is Unveiling Journeys. Let me just tell you 1 second about me. I love people. I love people so much, and they're so phenomenal, the things that they're doing, and I need people to know about them. But here's what it looks like. When I hang out with someone, I'm always like, "Oh, can I hear about your thing, your awesome invention, your story, your company?" And then at the end of it, I'm like, "Oh my goodness, I bet I have people right now that I want to introduce you to." But also they're like, "Wait, I want to introduce you to someone. There's someone that I want you to know." And if neither of us say that at the end, I have to remind myself to say like, "Wow, you have been so amazing. Who else can I know in your world that you think I should know?" It's like asking for a referral on the spot. And that's just led to hundreds of people that I've got to meet over the last 18 months of my life. In fact, the number specifically is almost under 1,000 people that I've met. And I want a lot of them to know you guys. And so that's why the show was born. So with that, super excited. I am in an amazing several communities, and one of them is how I met our guest today, Troy. And I loved what he was all about. And I want him to tell you just right now on the show. So thank you, Troy, for coming on the show. Tell everybody right now a little bit about who you are and what you're up to.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you for such a great introduction. You're amazing, and I'm humbled and honored to be here. So thank you for that. What am I doing? So I just finished writing a book earlier this year and recording the audiobook and like all of the things that come along with it. And that is what I am very jazzed up about.
Yeah. And we'll tell everybody a little bit about what the book is about.
Okay. So the book is about everything that I learned while fighting cancer and addiction at the same time.
And this is an incredible story that you have. And I can't wait to crack into it. But like for this book, this is not just a book, because this also has launched the ability for you to help people through this book. Talk a smidge about that.
Yeah, I mean it's really I wrote this for myself like a dozen years ago, right? Because when I needed it, I didn't have a message, or I didn't hear a message that really resonated with me. And so I think you find a lot of writers do that, right? They end up writing books and they're like, oh, it's for people who it's all BS. They write the books for themselves. And so that's what I did. And it was really like, how do you get through things that are almost insurmountable, or they feel insurmountable? They're just like so much bigger than anything that you've ever had to go up against before, and come out of it sane and better
Yeah,
off.
right. And your journey to be able to do that is it's like a niche space, but that's the whole point, is that your experience is not probably going to be the only time anybody ever is experiencing this. And then they can take branches of all the different pieces of your journey. Then you have the ability to help them alongside of this. And is it specifically like guiding people through your bits of the book?
So there's a third of the book that's memoir, right? It's like my stories. A third of it is research. I'm like a kind of a nerd, and so I went way down the rabbit hole of a ton of research. And then there's a third of it that are tactics or things that people could implement into their everyday lives to kind of help improve things.
Man, it's so I love that you have such a unique strategy in it that is actionable versus just like, "Hey, here's my book," kind of thing. It's like, "Wait a minute, this is what I went through, what you can go through." And you already are helping people in this exact space, and the more the better, which is why I'm like, "Come on the show, let's tell people about kind of what you're all about." Um, this is so fun. I know a lot of this has to do with your whole story. So let's go into your story. Tell me, let's the beginning, right? We're unveiling it. What do we do? Let's go. Where are you from? And what did you like want to be when you grew up? What'd you go to school for? We'll go all the way back to the beginning.
Wow. Okay. I'm from Denver, and that's where I live now again. I lived in DC for 8 years, but now we're back. And what did I want to be when I grew up? Okay. When I was a kid, I wanted to be a paleontologist. I was like
Ooh, yeah.
dinosaur nerd, right? Like very classic little boy. Then in college, I wanted to be a history professor. And I got there, like, I want to be a teacher. I like teaching. I like kids, like that kind of stuff. And then just the more I taught, the kind of higher levels that I liked. And so I wanted to be a history professor in part because I really wanted to be a writer back then and write a book and all of that kind of stuff. And I was advised to avoid academia, which I think was great advice. It's interesting the way that things can boomerang and can come back around because one of my mentors said, he said, you don't need to be a professor to write a book. You just like do that. And I was like, I don't know, this doesn't seem right. Like, I don't know, in college I didn't see really any other paths other than maybe like be a journalist, but I was not a journalist. I don't know, or be a professor and write a book like that. But I needed, what I needed is just life experience, which I did not have in my early 20s, right?
Right,
So,
right.
uh, well, so now I did. So now it is really kind of come full circle. It's been pretty cool.
So we went straight from this degree to this degree. Did you graduate with your degree
Yeah, yeah, degree in history.
in history? I love that.
And
And so what was your first few jobs look like?
okay, I applied to PhD programs. I got into one, but for my safety school, and I didn't want to go, so I didn't. I didn't go. And instead, I got into wine. I
What?
know. It feels
That's
like a
I
left
love
turn.
these twists and turns. That's why I'm like, yeah, yeah, astronaut. Like now I'm in real estate. Like, wait,
Feels like,
there's a
yeah.
left turn somewhere in there. Where does it?
So what had happened was I was dating a girl. She got into GW grad school, and I was like, "Well, this sounds great. Like, we will love DC. It'll be amazing." And she was like, "Uh, I'm not sure you're invited." And I said, "No, no, no, don't. I got a moving van. It'll be cool. It's fine." And to her credit, she says, "Well, what are you gonna do there? Like, you don't have a job there. You don't have a." And so I thought about it, and I thought, more good advice was, "Oh, get into wine." I didn't know anything about wine, but I like this process. And I would give people this advice is like, think of an industry or a thing that you like, but could also change jobs like 7 times if you wanted to, right? Because
Mm,
like,
mm.
I don't know, in the wine industry, you could be like, you could buy wine, sell wine, import wine, make wine, write about wine. I could have moved professions inside of the same thing and kept, pardon me, kept institutional knowledge and everything else. It just like moved around a lot. And that I think felt like a very good long-term plan to build a career. Um, but I didn't know anything about it. The only thing I knew was that I like to drink wine. So
There you go.
I showed up in DC. I started working in a wine shop, and then I worked there for a little bit, and then I move up the ladder. So I go from selling wine to people for dinner parties to a distributor who is now selling wine to bars, restaurants, wine shops, and then it didn't take too long before I moved up to the supplier level, right? So then we're selling to distributors. So just kind of moving up the supply chain a
Yeah.
little bit. But then got out
And
of
that's
wine.
really, really fun because you're going to you go to all these people and they're drinking the wine, you're having all these parties. How many years did it take for that span of moving all those positions up take?
I went fast. It
Yeah.
was I was at the distributor wine shop 9 months, distributor 2 years, and then I actually went to a whiskey supplier, a distillery, and then my job was take care of everything east of the Mississippi. So yeah, it was less than 3 years before I was doing that. Whirlwind.
That's a fun way about it. Now, when you get that high up, what do you go and do next?
Okay, so then it was just building. I mean, I was the first. It was a when I started at that distillery, it was very small. I mean, we counted sales by the bottle in my territory, and then by the time I left that position, I mean, we were acquired by one of the biggest beverage alcohol suppliers in the country, in the world. And I mean, my territory then was, over 15,009 liters. Oh, I don't know, whatever the math, but bottles to like, you know, pretty big for a craft distillery at least. And then I spent 2 years in the corporate world, like doing that. I joke that I got sucked into the Borg because we were very not corporate, right? It was like super cool, nichey, stuff like that. I spent 2 years there and then said like, this is not for me. So,
Yeah.
uh, and by that time we had moved to Colorado, started a family, and then I went back to kind of the craft side of thing, like small producers. And
That makes so much sense in Colorado.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
We have a ton of them, and yeah, great people. So back there, and then just like leading the sales effort for a little distillery here, and then we got like fairly big, at least for a one state distillery.
Mhm.
Pretty impressive. And then then I went to rehab.
Tell me about that. Oh my goodness. Did you put yourself in? Did you like, how did that, like, you decide you needed to go to rehab? Because I mean, think about it. You guys are listening right now. You're dealing with alcohol all day long. The idea is to say, yeah, let's partake together because that shows my camaraderie with you, right?
Yeah, yeah. That's it's interesting because that's exactly the way that I approached it. And I had one manager who's very smart, very cool. I still talk to him fairly frequently because he's just such a great guy. And he worked at the giant corporation, and he was my first, actually my only manager there. And he said to us at one point, just in a group thing, we are talking about our expenses and how we do business and money. He's like, like if you need a cab, take a cab, right? If you need a cab more than like once a month, then like let's have a conversation about your guys' drinking, because there's nothing in this job that requires you to drink. And I thought, old man doesn't know what he's
Yeah.
talking about. Like maybe with these like giant brands that you've dealt with, but not when you're like one of the cool kids.
I like
He
how you said that.
I mean, he was right. I was too young and too dumb to listen to him. But yeah, that was my approach, was just drink with everybody. And
I mean, that's fun too. Like, you get to be fun at the party. You get to show up and be like, look what I'm consuming with you. And I'm the person that you're buying it from and all of the above. When did you like make that decision to go?
yeah. Okay, so the unraveling went something like this. Like I okay, so we are, I don't know when this will come out, but we are recording this in the last couple days of sober October.
Okay.
And this was a thing that I did for years. Before dry January was cool, before sober October's, I would take a month off of drinking. Uh, just to like reset. But I picked February because it was the shortest month of the year, right?
All right.
Also coming off of the holidays, like January makes a lot of sense. You come off the holidays, it's a lot of drinking. My birthday's in January, so I was like, I can't do January anyway. So I'll pick February. It's the next one. It's the shortest. Um, here's what, but here's what happens is that your body's tolerance drops pretty quick. Our bodies are pretty resilient.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing that doesn't change as quickly are our minds.
Yeah.
And so your mind will crave at the same level of consumption as it did before. So, if you drank 5 beers, then your brain says, oh, yeah, you drink 5 beers, whether your body needs 5 beers to feel as intoxicated or not. And so it's my big warning for anybody who does the month off, right? It's like a big social thing. It's fun. It's like, I think, really, really good. Um, but the part that I never thought about very hard, or never successfully did, is easing my way back in. In fact, I know a lot of people, especially if they have a really complicated relationship with alcohol, will like, they get to the end of the month and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm back.
Yeah.
And and I did a good job, so I'm gonna reward myself with, like, a few extra, right? Uh, and your body's tolerance is way lower, so it's not ready for it, and this is why people, like, depending on the case, why relapses can kill people, because their
Wow.
body is not
Yeah.
ready for the dose that the mind says it should.
Makes sense. Yeah.
So March was always awful. The beginning of March was especially awful because I was coming off I called it off the sauce February. Then I was like back on no, no mindfulness, nothing. Just like, oof, okay, I got through my month off. Now let's go. Uh, my wife's birthday is the first week in March. Yeah, and I more than one occasion like botched that. And the year I put myself into rehab, I really messed up. Like, I got us reservations at the coolest restaurant, the hardest to get thing. It was like an account. It was amazing. And I was too drunk. I couldn't go. I got disinvited. She disinvited me. And so I knew I messed up. Right. And I was like, okay, I have to do something big to show her I can like pull myself together here, like, won't happen again, and, like, I understand it, and, like, this is not the first time when I was like, "Oh, I let that one get away from me." That was a thing I used to say a lot, "Let that one get away from me." And so I came up with a plan, uh, that in hindsight is just, like, a plan that only an addict could think of. I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna take a chunk of cash from my savings, I'm gonna put it in our joint account," and I said, "Okay, I'm gonna spend a year showing you that I got this. And at the end of that year, let's take that $10,000 and let's go to Iceland. Like, let's go like dream vacation. Let's go for it. And if I mess up, then it's yours. No question. And you can be the judge." I didn't last a month.
Hmm.
I didn't last a month. We had a work dinner and went out, drank too much, was pretty hungover the next day, you know, drank more that day to like kind of get over it. And she knew, confronted me. I lied to her about it, and she said, "Well, you gotta get out of the house.
Yeah.
Can't be here." She kicked me out. She said, and I that afternoon, I passed out in a Zoom meeting,
No.
and yeah, she said, "I called you an Uber, and I booked you a hotel room, and you gotta get out of here." And it was incredibly clear to me in that moment that I could not do this myself,
Mm.
and I checked myself into rehab facility that night.
Wow. Gives me chills thinking about it.
It was not the I wanna say it was not the best day. It was not a very comfortable day. It was not a pleasant day. It was a necessary day.
Yeah. Yeah. Those are the turning point days, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
This is where the story gets interesting because here you go, check into rehab, and then more crazy things happen. Tell everybody.
Yeah. Check into rehab, and it goes pretty well. And I'm like and the thing that I never thought I would be able to do, I was, like, doing it, right? Like, I felt okay not drinking everything, and, I was set to graduate and just, like, doing so well, like getting healthy. I lost like 20 pounds. Like, I was feeling good. Like, I was crushing it. And one morning, I started working out early in the morning. This is a thing that people do when they get sober. Like, all right, I'm going to start taking care of myself right now. And I'm lifting weights and I feel this like crackle in my shoulder. It kind of gives out a little bit. And I had that feeling once before, like a year before, and ignored it then, and felt better after a couple weeks, but it is like a feel it was not a it didn't snap and it didn't pop. It was like a truly unique sensation. And I said, okay, I'm taking care of myself. Like, I'm going to go to the doctor this time. Like, I don't know. I need a physical therapist, or maybe, I don't know, my rotator cuff. I don't know. And turns out I had cancer. I had my surgeon called it big, scary, dangerous, rare cancer. Uh, is a
Bingo.
bingo. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Uh, and so it's called chondrosarcoma. It's a bone cancer that develops in the cartilage. And this is, I mean, it's like one half of 1/2 of a % of cancers are like 1,200 people a year in the US get my type of cancer. And, a lot of times it happens in their hips or their elbows or whatever. Pretty rare to get it in the shoulder blade. Uh, yeah. So there's kind of an ongoing, I don't know, it's not a saying, right? But people always will say, like, oh, you will, on your way out of rehab, like, you will be tested. And to say the least,
Yeah. That's you're writing a book about, like, the worst way you could be tested, like, "I would drink over this, but wait, we're not."
I mean, yeah, it was getting that phone call that, I went to the orthopedic guy, he took an x-ray, he said, oh, you need an MRI, which I expected. But he said, I'm going to mark it as an emergency so that the insurance company like doesn't slow us down or anything. He didn't sound concerned. He
Concerned,
just
yeah.
sound. But I did think to myself, like, emergency is not a word that I want doctors to use.
Yeah, right? Yeah,
But it allowed me to get an MRI that morning or that afternoon. So,
yeah.
I was like orthopedic guy in the morning, MRI in the afternoon. That guy called me at 5:30 that night and said, I'm not the doctor for you. You need the guy who deals with rare orthopedic tumors. And I said,
Oh.
yes, please send me to that guy. And yeah, in that moment would have been the perfect time for a drink. Like, if
Mhm.
I had not
Get your
said that,
mind off of it. You get
yeah,
to check out,
I mean,
like
everything, right? Like,
yeah, yeah.
nervous, whatever, like scared, like, yeah, if you did like all of the unpleasant emotions that I didn't want to feel at that moment, uh, could have gone away in the very short term with a drink, but that was not an option for me then.
Hmm.
And I'm so thankful that it happened in that order, right? Like, if I had gotten that diagnosis beforehand, like before I stopped drinking, like, yeah, I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
you shuddered, so I didn't have to. Yeah, I don't, who
yeah.
knows where I would have
I
been then.
I mean, because I mean, that stuff's not great for you anyway to help your body heal itself the way it needs to and to be optimal with it. Like, so the ability for it to happen the way that happened. And I think everything really does happen for a reason, whether people believe that or not. And I believe that, the way that even your good and bad decisions, that it's going to happen that way. And then there's a plan for our life, no matter which way you go, left or right, every single day. And so the way that you got to be able to come into this diagnosis, and then you're here with us. So you got to come out of this diagnosis and have like a stunning recovery in all of this, and then be able to get you, really, your journey starts to take place, recovery through this, and then circle back around to how you're able to help people through versions of all of this. Tell me more about that to bring us back full circle to where you're at right now.
Yeah, full circle. So one of the one of the things that really helped me in my recovery and then, like, keep me sane and sober through my diagnosis and surgeries and everything that came afterwards was the I think that, like, business people will appreciate the approach that I wanted to take to rehab because it's in many ways how we approach business, which is like, addiction is hard. If you include all of them, 85% of people will relapse in their first year. For alcohol, which was my issue, um, it's a little better than that, but still not great. Like, 2/3 to 3/4 of people won't make it their first year without relapsing. And so I asked my therapists, I realized that, hey, how do people mess this up? And my plan was like, if I just don't do the things that people do to mess up, then like I'll be fine, right? Like, I'll be way better. And she said, well, People don't make good decisions when they're hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. And
That's
that's
a
it.
great identifier. I mean, when you know, and they give you like a framework, right? This is keep going. I love this
Yeah.
so much.
Yeah. So it's halt, right? Easy to remember. Halt. But terrifying.
Yeah,
And I didn't like
because
the way
that's
it
a
got. Well, because here's the thing, right? If my plan was just don't do the things that people do when they mess up, like these are not things that we can avoid or fix. These are things that happen to us every single day of our lives because we're humans. So my strategy to just avoid them, gone. Yeah,
Try
gone.
again.
And I also didn't really like the way it got coached to me at first, which was, if you feel like you want to drink, think to yourself, am I hungry, angry, lonely, tired? And if so, go fix that instead of have a cocktail, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but that seemed like it would just take so much willpower. And I did not land in rehab by having great willpower, right? So I needed to find a different way to approach it because it makes so much sense. When you say it out loud, like you don't make good decisions when you're hungry, angry, lonely, tired. Every time I say that to somebody, they say, that's so true. Right. And
I
so I
see it.
thought,
I don't know how to do it. Yeah.
right. And so I thought, well, how can I get proactive about this so that I don't have to trust myself in a moment of weakness? And so that's kind of how I started sketching out my routine. Is like make sure that I'm eating before I'm super hungry, right? So I don't get as hangry.
Mhm,
Everybody's been
mhm.
hangry. Um, if I'm processing my emotions regularly instead of stuffing them and waiting for them to erupt, if I'm connecting with people proactively so I don't feel lonely, and if I'm taking care of my sleep and exercise so my energy is up, then like maybe I give myself a shot. And so
Yeah.
I started just sketching out like what does that look like in real life? And it looks like something that I don't think we're very good at as a society, which is, treating our lives as a chronic disease instead of a problem to solve, right? Like this is something we're going to have to do all the time. So if we nurture these four aspects of our lives, it's going to increase our baseline for good decision making, and it will make us better at making good decisions, or at least being in a state where we can make good decisions when we need to, because we don't get a choice about when we have to make big decisions. A lot of times they come at us. The world throws them at us, and the best thing that we can do is try to keep ourselves in a place where we're kind of ready for that whenever they arrive.
Right. Mm.
And so then, okay, so that's like the idea, that's the theory. And then I start, I did a lot of writing. Rehab, they will make you write and journal and everything else. And for good reason, which I'll talk about in 1 second. But this all kind of um I was grinding on, I was thinking about it, like a year after or something, and I thought, oh, this actually makes sense. Like, why is halt so powerful? Was the question I kept asking myself. And if we think about the issues or the things that we kind of have to overcome on a regular basis, they kind of fit onto this into a matrix, or like on this axis, right? And it's that they are usually either like physical or emotional. These are problems that we have: physical problems, emotional problems, and they tend to be either internal, or you could think personal, or external and social. Okay, halt fits this matrix perfectly. It's really hard to think of something that is more internal and physical than being hungry, right? Like,
Right, right.
depending on how long you don't eat, like it will just like take over every thought you have.
Yeah.
And then your internal and emotional, I put angry there, and it's really kind of a stand in for all of your emotions. And, yeah, maybe we get triggered by external factors, but, we own our own emotions, and they fit in that quadrant. If you drop then to the internal and social side of things. Like these are relationships. It's the most important quadrant. Like after all my research, I'm sure of it. It's how we deal with other people and what we can do to make those really meaningful relationships. Um, and then external and physical. I mean, that's like kind of how your body's feeling. That's your energy. I mean, that's your sleep and exercise really. And so
Yeah.
halt is like a actually very holistic approach to self-care without being either too like hyper masculine and protocol driven or like metaphysical, and kind of like ethereal. So it was a message that I think resonated with me. Like it's a pretty pragmatic approach to it.
I love it so much. I'm gonna go through the last couple questions I have to
Do it.
kind of
Yeah,
wrap
do
us
it.
up. Yeah. What like whenever people have had an incredible story and you're doing phenomenal stuff, and you're kind of set, like you've done all kinds of phenomenal things and your business is running. Like Troy in particular, why do you keep showing up? Why do you care so much?
So there have been like 117 billion people who have been on Earth, right? Uh, which means that we're not special. And sometimes people bristle when I say that, but I think it's beautiful because it means we're not alone. And it means that whatever you're going through, for me, it was cancer and addiction and like whatever else, you have other things in your life as everybody else does. But you're not the only person who has dealt with that. There are people who have come before you and who are a few steps ahead of you, or depending on what it is, like they figured it out. Uh, there are people who are dealing with the same thing that you are dealing with right now, and there are people who are a couple steps behind you, looking for someone to guide them. And for me, it's why it's incumbent upon us to share our stories because when we can raise our flag and tell people kind of what we're going through, then it signals to the people behind you, like,
Yeah,
hey, come and ask me. Like,
agree.
here's what I've
Yep.
done. It tells people who you're kind of equals with, like, hey, let's commiserate, let's share notes, like, let's work together. And then it
Support system. Yep. All of the above.
support with your peers. And then it tells the people who are ahead of you or who have been there, like, hey man, come pull me up to where you are. Because mentorship gives so much value to mentors. And we don't think about that when we're the ones who need the mentor. But when we're the ones acting as the mentor, we know how much we get out of it. And so it
Yeah.
puts us in this chain of people and it allows us to serve something bigger than ourselves, which is incredibly important. So it's why I have to keep showing.
Oh, it's so good. All right. At this point, people are thinking, how do I find you? Where do you want people to come find you?
Yeah. Go to my website. It's troykarnes.com. Drop your email in there, and then I send out notes once a week. And then you can communicate with me there, or just on LinkedIn. That's the best social media place. But yeah, drop your email and let's chat.
Perfect. I love it. All right. 2 questions left. What's on the horizon?
Ooh, what's on the horizon? Okay, so I'm continuing to like help people implement halt, and so like on a daily basis, like there are some good tactical mechanics, right? It's a check in that takes like 90 seconds a day, but it then feeds a graph so you can see graphs. I mean, research shows that if you can put something on a line graph, you're more likely to keep with your habits. So we do that for your sleep, mood, achieving your goals or not, how you're eating, like all kinds of stuff. Um, and then writing. Like writing is incredibly important to help you understand what's going on in your brain. It helps you slow down. There's lots of really good research, and we'll talk about it next time maybe because I could nerd out for hours about it. But
Yeah, yeah.
so doing that, and then just writing a lot more. I'm co-authoring another book right now, which is very fun, and just working with other authors because I think that there's uh, an incredible amount of personal development that can get done when people decide to start writing. And it's not easy for people, but it's something that lots and lots of people want to do. They like want to write books, but none of them do because it's hard. They don't know how. So I help with that.
It's and then last question, what's your nugget? What do you wanna leave with everybody for your words of wisdom?
Yeah, it's the subtitle. It's the subtitle of my which is that your life isn't broken. So stop trying to fix it. Like I promise you will get better results if you start nurturing it instead of trying to fix all the things that you think are wrong with it.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for your time. It's been wonderful to hear your story and be able to talk to you and then share with everybody listening how they could reach out to you and come hang out and get some of the incredible tools that you're making available for the people that can reach out to you. So I appreciate you as so much. And then I'm excited for where you're going on this path. Everybody that you're hanging out, I will see you on the next episode. And then don't forget to share this for those people that you know would it would mean a lot to them too. Everybody go have a great day.
Thank
Bye.
you.